Hey, check it out. I got the sound deadening material installed on Christine's floor, and I also have insulation on the roof. I'm going to take the mystery out of the Dynamat, X-Mat, and all these other different sound deadening and insulating products. Explain it to you, show you what it takes to put it in. It's not rocket science. It's real simple. So let me help unconfuse you. If you're interested in seeing this, stay tuned. All right, welcome back to Restoring Christine. Bill here, Christine, our 56 Bel Air that we're restoring. She's well on her way. Today we're going to get into something that is universal to just about every restoration. It's an improvement over what the factory did, and we're going to talk about insulation, sound deadening, and thermal insulation. So trying to get Christine to run like, you know, these cars are made out of tin, they're made out of metal. Metal conducts heat, metal conducts sound. So there's a whole bunch of products out in the market that you can use to put in these cars, and there seems to be a whole lot of like smoke and mirrors and mysteries with it, and hopefully I can take that mystery out of it and show you how simple it really is. So let's get into it. All right, so if you've been shopping on the internet and you're shopping for sound deadening and thermal insulation, there's a whole bunch of products out there, and probably one of the biggest ones is Dynamat. Dynamat Extreme. There's a number of places to sell that. That one's pretty popular. You've also got Eastwood sells X-Mat, and it's the same thing as Dynamat, though they wouldn't want you to believe that. And there's also a whole bunch of universally similar products on Amazon. So I used a product when I restored a 71 Cutlass, and I put it in this Cutlass shoot now over 8-9 years ago. And they still make it today. It's still the same thing, and it's made by Noico, N-O-I-C-O, and it is no different than any of this other stuff. So this is what it looks like when you get it in the box. It's a sheet of bitumin, which is basically like tar. It's a tar-based product, so you can see. It's a layer of tar, or this bituminous sticky material, and then on it is a layer of foil, aluminum foil, and on the back is a non-stick. Peel it off to keep it from sticking to itself until you get it in the car. So you'll notice that when you're shopping for this stuff, that there's a whole bunch of different ones that all are, they label them differently, but they're really the same. If you look at it, you'll see it's sold as 1/16 of an inch thick. It's sold at 0.067 inches thick. It's sold as 60 mils. It's all the same thing. It's the exact same thickness, and they all have a 4 mil aluminum material, surface on it. So what this stuff does, I mean, if you're talking about killing sound, that's what this is effective at. So on the sheet metal, you know, it's like a drum. You know, all of that, it rattles and it echoes. So what you want is you want mass and you want a dampener. That's what this is. It's nothing more than a dampener. So you apply this material over that metal pan, and it stops from sounding like a pan drum, and it sounds a lot more dull. So we'll show you that after we start getting some of this material in there. But the second part of this is we're going to use this on the floor. Now, we already have carpet, so carpet serves a purpose I'll go into in a moment. But for right now, let's talk about the floor and what's going to happen. So we're going to use this heavy bituminous material on the bottom, and we're going to stop that drum action. It's going to stop that sound. It's going to dull it. It's going to muffle it. It's going to really quiet everything down. And what you also have underneath the car, you know, you've got your exhaust pipes and you got rattling, you know, so that vibration, this will help calm all that vibration down. The second thing that happens is, particularly if you're driving over blacktop, is radiant heat. So radiant heat is going to be stopped by this aluminum barrier. So this product, this type of product, is ideal for putting on the floors of all these classic cars, any car for that matter. Put this along the floor throughout, and then you've got the deadening of the bitumen, and then you've got the radiant barrier of the aluminum. It's as simple as that. That's what we're going to use on the floor. But now you can use this also on the interior of the doors, and any place you've got a big panel that's going to have some kind of a means of vibrating and echoing. So I wouldn't necessarily put this on a door and cover it 100% of its square footage. But if you put a big enough block on this, it's going to definitely dampen that sound. So this also has purposes inside of the door panel. And one other thing, because this is a bitumen, this is waterproof. So you can put this on the inside of the door. So the second thing we're going to do, let's go back to the carpet. So now on the bottom of the floor, we're going to have that layer of bituminous material, that boundary layer, that radiant boundary layer of aluminum foil. And on top of that, we have carpet. Now, carpet is a thermal insulator because it's basically a boundary gap of air. So air is really the best thermal insulation that there is. So what we're going to do is we also want to put something on the roof. So on the roof, what we're going to do is we're going to put a few pieces of this bituminous material just to get some sound deadening. But the thing that we want up in the roof is we want something to trap the air. So I've got something similar. But it's a related product, but it's not bituminous. So this is I believe this, I forget how thick this is. I'll put a description to it. But this is basically sticky foam. So you can see the foam, and what does it have? It has that radiant barrier again. It's got the aluminum. This is super cheap. You don't have to go high tech on this. You just want this foam insulation with an aluminum backing and some decent amount of tacky material so that it'll stick up, and that's what you're going to look for. That's all this is. This is very generic. I got this. This is literally no brand. I just made sure through all the reviews on Amazon where I got it from that it sticks. That's all I care about, is does it stick? Now, one last note. One of the things about the bitumen is there are horror stories out there that if you get one that is a cheapy knockoff, now so you got to go with something reputable, that sometimes the bitumen, when it heats up, it has a tar-like smell. And once that gets in the interior of your car, it's difficult to overcome. So just be careful. Look at some of the reviews, and if you see a deal that's like super cheap and a lot cheaper than everything else, maybe there's a reason. I don't know what the difference is between this bituminous material and any of the ones that are generic and maybe smell, but I know this Noico product does not smell. So that's why I'm going to use it. Let's start with the install. All right, so as we get started, the very first thing I'm going to do is I need to get up to this ceiling. Christine, when she was media blasted, you can go back to episode 2 and see the outcome of that, but she was media blasted and they got up in here and they cleaned up the underside of my roof really, really well. So it's nice and it's bright metal. It's got a little bit of rust in a couple little small spots just from the humidity, but it's really super minor. So what I did is since I've already painted Christine, I don't want to coat anything with any kind of a spray because there's way too much finished metal to mask everything off. So I don't want to spray in here, but I had one of my subscribers, one of my regulars, has been with me since I had like literally 100 subscribers. And he's been with me since the beginning. But anyway, he recommended, like, hey, shouldn't you paint that and get that sealed so that it's not bare metal? And he's right. So oil accumulator, there you go. Got you on the YouTube. But I'm going to use Rust-Oleum Clean Metal Primer. I'm going to use this with a roller. I'm going to go in with a little 4-inch roller. Just get this thing coated. This thing takes about 2 hours to dry, to where it's dry to the touch. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the floor, and then I'll be able to, once this is done, the last thing we'll do is we'll insulate that ceiling. So let's get started. All right, I got it done. A little bit of paint in my hands. I could have used a glove maybe.
few little minor little drips here and there, but that's an oil-based paint. That'll come off of this this Emerald finish really easily. I just need to go get my cleanup and clean that up. But I need to let this dry for quite a few hours. So we're going to turn our attention to the floor in just a minute, and then we'll go ahead and get that done. And then we'll come back to that later on this afternoon after it has a chance to dry. So here we go.
All right, so the deal that I got on my phone, it actually came with a roller. So if you don't have a roller, you can go to big box store, hardware store, whatever, and just get a wallpaper seam roller in the paint department. These are plastic. These are super cheap. This kit happened to come with a little, it looks like old roller skating wheel, but it's a little more heavy duty roller. So all I'm going to do is just cut this and stick this up there, and use the roller to make sure that it adheres. But that's all there is to it. So let's see what we got. There we go. It's sticking to my fingers. Get this back in here. You just tack it. Get the back off a little bit at a time. And that's it. It's pretty pliable. I mean, you can see I put it in a curve. And it's still, you know, it conformed. So and go ahead and hit it with that roller. Just make sure it sticks. And that's it. Solid. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the roof, and we'll get this part done. All right, I got it. Like a big dummy, I didn't put any of the bituminous mat underneath it. Oh well. I'm going with this though. I mean, it's gonna be a lot better than what it was. Factory had some amount of some insulation up here. Don't know what it was, but this is gonna be a lot better. This is really good stuff. So as I was putting it in, it was sticking to my fingers and was peeling off the back a little bit, but it adheres really well. You know, you don't really get two shots at it, so you can't take two bites at the apple. You can only put it up just the one time once you get it stuck. So the roller for this wasn't necessary. There aren't, you know, I could see where the air pockets were, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work those out with the roller. But that's pretty much it. So now we're going to turn our attention to the floor. So let's start putting in that bituminous mat. All right, the first thing, I know for certain I don't have enough. I bought a box, and it's 36 square feet in that box. And I had another box that I had remnants left over, and I thought I had more than I did, so I really only had 2 more pieces. I don't know how many square feet I have, but I really want. What I've done, and you haven't seen, is I've scraped all of this. You can see all the overspray. I've got red overspray, the pink, the white, the gray, the primer,
everything, all kinds of overspray over on top of all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this. There's a hump right here, and it comes into the transmission tunnel. So this stuff, it's not rocket science. Don't overthink it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. This material. Here's another thing too. If you see these little dimples, these little diamonds, you know, you would think, oh, don't mash that. No, that's exactly what they want you to do. The dimples, these little diamonds, are an indicator. They're an indicator to let you know that you have adequately pressed down on it. So, you know, they want you to lay on it. You don't really need to do a whole lot, but you can see the ribs of the floor coming through. That's what they want you to do. They want a little bit of void space in here, probably because of these ribs. Maybe that's where I'm getting the air from. This stuff is so forgiving. I'll probably leave that for the material that I don't have. But that's it. So there's a lot of cutting and fitting as far as getting it to shape over all these different odd shapes, like underneath the seat. Underneath the seat, you know, there's this big hump here, so there's going to be some cutting and splicing. But that's it. So let me go ahead and put on a hyperlapse, let you listen to some music, and you can watch me work. Let's get after it. Alright, I got it done. You ready to check it out? Floor looks awesome, ceiling looks awesome. I'm really pleased with it. So there we go. I actually had enough. I was shocked. Man. I had enough to do it. So I thought I was going to go all the way up, and I knew I didn't have enough to go do that, but then I remembered I have a firewall pad. So, you know, that's as high as I needed to bring that up. The firewall pad will take care of that. And at the back, this is all going to be underneath, you know, an upholstered chair or seat. So, you know, this doesn't really need to be a whole lot, but I was able to get, that was the last few pieces. But I had just enough to do it. And check out the ceiling. Ceiling looks really good too. You know? So, that's going to do it. I got it done. Took all day, but I mean, this is much better than what I've been doing. One thing that the instructions say is wear gloves. I don't think you can tell in the video when I was cutting my hands left and right on that aluminum. But it's done. So I'm ready to wrap it up. That's going to do it from here. So I'll tell you what, if you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, I love a subscription. So I got a little dog here telling me, what? There's Deuce. What? Time to eat. It's time to eat. I'm gonna go feed Deuce. See you next time. Take care of yourself. Cheers.